This is a response to the fake kinetic energy maths from Draft Science, in which he claims that squaring the seconds on acceleration means that they allow for squaring the velocity, but it doesn't have anything to do with squaring the velocity. Although it is strange, squaring seconds makes no sense, right? There can be a justification for squaring the seconds, though not logically, is practical. Because when you square the seconds, you know the thing you're doing. You're talking about acceleration instead of talking about velocity. Similarly, you can have another value, which is acceleration over time, right? Like velocity over time, but acceleration over time. That is called a jolt. Now, a jolt is meters over seconds cubed. You could have another value if you really care about how many jolts over seconds there are, and then you can have to the fourth seconds. The only thing this does is allow you to identify what you're talking about, velocity or acceleration or jolts or whatever the next one would be. That's a good reason to have these units preserved in some weird second power. Though it makes no sense, right? But I could not find a relationship between this and squaring the velocity. Why? Well, the way that they derive the kinetic energy equation that squares the velocity is the following. So they have kinetic energy equals force times distance. Then they do something like force is ma, okay? Ma d mass mass acceleration times distance. What they do is they use, you can see over here, they get the equation for distance, which is this, and it only describes this graph, and this graph is for acceleration. Is not, if there was a constant velocity, the graph would look something like this, because the velocity is constant over time, and that is just velocity times time, right? But they choose one that that fits the kinetic energy better. So they choose distance equals 1/2 velocity times time, which it will give you the value, the distance for a certain velocity for a certain time. Then what they do, you can see in this video, they replace the acceleration by its definition, which is velocity over time. And so then you get two velocities multiplied, right? You get mv squared, and then the t's cancel out. Now, imagine that velocity is constant, right? If velocity is constant, this goes to 0, and you end up with kinetic energy equals m times 0 times d. Everything goes to 0, which makes sense when you're measuring force, ma, right? If there is no acceleration, there is no force. So F equals ma. If there is no acceleration, if velocity initial equals velocity final, when you take the average to take the velocity, you get a big fat 0. So kinetic energy being defined in terms of force also has the same problem, in which constant velocity will yield a zero, which you multiply by, and you get a big fat zero. So I don't see how they can say that the object, has the force kinetic energy. How does it own the force any more than an object owns force through ma? It's a thing that is applied. It's not anyways. So the kinetic energy should be using this formula right here, which is V. For V, they should be replacing B initial times T plus 1/2 acceleration times T squared, rather than merely 1/2 bt. Then it would be more complicated, the formula. But they like their b squared. Yeah, I think that's it for this video, in which I contend that what you say over here,
500 seconds, we call a number of seconds, not square seconds. And this is how they fake, an excuse to put this square in the math to justify 1/2 mv squared. It's just backward, reformulation to find a way of making it fit into the rest of mathematics. So they create a fake origin for the square, and this is the creation of the fake origin. They do something mathematically when they're treating acceleration that they don't do for any other equation.
So that's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with it, though it's strange. Has nothing to do with the origin of the b squared. This is the origin of the b squared, what I just showed. That's it. Bye-bye.